Production Planner has an Excel interface very familiar to and loved by production schedulers. QAD work orders can be effortlessly downloaded into it based on the range of selection criteria and uploaded back into QAD. The tool will require a valid QAD user ID and password and ensures that the user accessing the data is authorized to maintain work orders in QAD. There are various details available to the scheduler for each work order, such as due dates, work order statuses, open and received quantities. With 32Soft Production Planner, you can also calculate available and required component quantities to identify existing and projected component shortages. Here is a sample detailed report of all work order shortages. And based on the component availability status, work order status is assigned. If availability of manufacturing resources is a critical parameter of your scheduling process, or you want to smooth production to optimize the utilization of these resources, you can run capacity availability calculation. This will allow identifying work orders with projected capacity shortages or calculate manufacturing time required for each resource on each date. Here are manufacturing resources, and this is the time required for each work order. Changes to the demands, for example, increase or decrease, present themselves through MRP action messages and MRP planned orders. Customer demands are projected onto the manufacturing floor from the sales orders and customer schedules. Actual or firm demands may be available for the next couple of weeks, but businesses need to plan ahead to account for increased purchasing lead times and ensure availability of manufacturing resources. Here's where the sales forecast comes to the scene. It gives information about projected sales when firm customer demands are not available yet. However, in a scenario where there are existing or anticipated component shortages, scheduler will need to prioritize between work orders issued to cover sales forecast and those that cover customer orders and safety stock replenishment. With a relatively small number of finished items, subassembly components, and work orders, scheduler can use MRP report to review each order and decide what action, if any, should be taken. MRP report can be accessed directly from the production planner. This is a real-time information that shows sources and details of manufacturing order demands. It can be used to modify work order status, open quantity, or due date. Reviewing MRP detailed reports and identifying source of demands for each work order is a time-consuming process. It is still doable when the number of planned work orders to review is relatively small. However, when number of item and work orders increases, the scheduling process takes more and more time. After looking at the way to improve work orders and review process together with one of our customers, we added functionality that identifies source of demand for the work orders during the download from QAD. Without going into MRP report for each item, scheduler can see if demand is coming from sales order, forecast, or stock. This new feature significantly speeds up review and approval of planned orders for finished components. Source of demand for subassembly items is more challenging to determine, but can be done in Production Planner through a combination of steps. This would include scheduling finished items order first, firming demand that come from sales order and stock replenishment, and then running component availability reports for all firmed work orders. In this case, I would review and firm planned work orders where the source of demand is not forecast. I will pick one. So let's say I want to firm this order. I can do multiple at a time. We'll upload into QAD. I would do this with all my finished item components, and then I would exclude remaining unconfirmed planned orders from my schedule and run component availability report. So I will exclude planned orders, download everything that's firm, and we'll run component availability to identify where I am with my subassembly component availability. The component availability report will identify and show required and available quantity of subassembly components for all firmed orders. This way, I can exclude subassembly requirements coming from the forecast. Scheduler can see what, if any, and when additional work orders for subassembly items will need to be placed. I don't have any shortages in my example. This way, firm demands supported by customer orders can be scheduled first, and then demands that are coming from forecast reviewed and rescheduled. Another example of new functionality initiated by the customer is identifying the number of short components and total percentage of the components available in relation to the work order's quantity. For example, there may be cases when some component quantity is still available, but not enough to cover full work order quantity. In this case, the scheduler can see how much is available without looking into component requirements details and firm what's available only. As with the demand category calculated for each planned work order, when faced with a large number of work orders to review, scheduler can save a lot of time by quickly clearing partial shortages instead of spending time on analyzing each shortage individually. Another big change to 32Soft Production Planner we have is the ability to include all open work orders into component availability calculation. Before, only work orders from the orders list were included in the shortage calculation. The more work orders need to be analyzed and the longer bill of materials of those work orders are, the longer it takes to calculate projected components availability for each work order. During the daily scheduling process, each scheduler usually either wants to concentrate on a group of items or production lines at a time to speed up the process. The disadvantage of this approach, comparing to analyzing schedule as a whole, was that excluded open work orders were not part of the component's availability calculation. We found a way to identify component quantity allocated to the open work orders that are left out of scope and improve the accuracy of projected available quantity numbers. Projected available quantity for each work order component is now based not only on available quantity on hand and quantity required for other work orders from the schedule, which is on the orders list tab, but also on quantity allocated to other work orders that have been left out of scope. This new functionality allows, for example, to review only new demands or MRP planned work orders and see more accurate projection of components availability, because all our firmed work order components requirements will show here in the allocated quantity number. Another new addition are checking for shop floor and offsite quantities. When production planning tool calculates component availability, it starts calculation with available quantity on hand. Often in preparation to the manufacturing process, Components get moved from the warehouse to the dedicated workstations, losing their available status in the process. Or subassembly may not leave the shop floor and be backflashed to the locations with non-nettable status. Ability to see the shop floor quantity allows the scheduler to dismiss work order shortages that can be offset by it. Also, when components are stored at the warehouses at another site, the scheduler can see the available off-site quantity. The lead time for component requests from off-site warehouse is usually quite short compared to the supplier items. The scheduler can firm work orders if components are available off-site in a sufficient quantity. Here's the example of such work order. MRP will notice those new work orders and automatically generate inter-site requests for the components. For the scheduler, component quantity then can be seen in either off-site quantity on hand, in transit quantity if it has been shipped, or in quantity on hand once it has been received. Those were some new features we have in our production planner. What I wanted to show you during today's webinar is that with 32Soft Production Planner, you not only can safely and efficiently exchange data between QAD and Excel-based spreadsheets, have greater visibility of your data and more control and ease of data management, but that we can also help you to implement it in the most efficient way for your organization. The 32Soft Production Planner, like all other 32Soft data loaders, can work on-premise, on cloud, and with all QAD versions, whether you use master scheduling workbench, discrete work orders, production orders. We integrate it smoothly with QAD setup you have.